Hi, and thank you for joining me on Basic Batches. This is Series 0, Episode 1, Go FAQ Yourself, Volume 1, the Pre-Emptive Strike. In this episode, I hope to tackle some of the questions that you may have around what Basic Batches is and what I intend for the series to be and to become as well. In this episode as well, I hope to answer some of the questions that you may not have thought of yet, so that it saves you some time and effort asking those questions. This is not going to be a cooking video right now, but in the future there will be cooking videos that come out around basic batches. I'm going to be referring to my computer screen down here, or should I say laptop screen. So if you see my eyes dart from you, viewer, down to you, computer, laptop, then that is not because I have issues with maintaining eye contact, though I do. It's all about actually me trying to read what the questions I've tried to preempt are. So let's get started with question 1. Well, I guess the completely corporate version of what is Basic Batches about is that this show is designed to build food literacy in young adults. I'm going to be doing that through the medium of batch cooking, but essentially what I want to do is teach people how to cook quickly and easily, so that you are not having to go out and buy a takeaway all the time. I'm also hoping to teach some skills around cooking as well. So we'll be looking at slicing and dicing and chopping and all that stuff that, you know, a lot of people see being done on cooking shows, but that's all assumed knowledge. I'm hoping to pare it back and really take people through the absolute raw essentials of cooking so that you're able to produce a multitude of different dishes with some really core key components. If you're wanting to build food knowledge and you don't have the time to be perched over a stove for hours on end every single day, then these are probably the best kinds of videos for you. Doesn't matter whether you're single, if you're in a relationship, if you're married, if you have children, if you don't, whether you live at home with your parents, whether you live in an apartment, whether you live in a house, whatever it is, as long as you've got some of the really basic cooking appliances and bits and pieces, which I will run through in a future episode, then you and I will be able to work together to produce the same results regardless of your cooking skills. You may notice that I am dressed in more or less a chef's outfit. That is because it adds a certain idea that you're going to be able to do some amazing things, and you are, but the truth is that they are incredibly simple to do. So hopefully you and I will be able to work together to do some really, really nice dishes using only the most rudimentary skills. That's all I've got. All I've got are the most rudimentary skills. The answer to that is no. And quite frankly, if you're doing well with those kinds of episodes, those webisodes, whatever you want to call them, then I would recommend sticking to them. I'm a huge fan of all three. I often sit down and watch episodes of those to give me a better understanding of how to do things as well. But it does require a certain level of base knowledge. I'm going to go a step back from Good Eats, Serious Eats, and America's Test Kitchen and focus on some really, really basic knife skills. It's really, really basic equipment that you should be having, rather than going for the higher end stuff that will serve you if you become when you become a better cook and when you become more skilled. Those episodes are more, or those shows are more about getting the best materials, getting the best cuts of meats, the best vegetables, getting everything in fresh and easy, and doing the best job possible with them. What I'm about, what we're going to be exploring, is what you can do to get a basic thing like bolognese, a basic shepherd's pie, basic grilled wings, all of this really, really simple, straightforward stuff to give you the confidence so that you're able to move on to those things and play with flavors and play with textures and all of that. So short answer again, no, but this may lead to those things. First of all, hello United States. Here in the rest of the world, we tend to use the metric system for most things. Unless we're talking about temperature, it's measured in Celsius, and sometimes for dating profiles, our heights are marked in feet and inches for some odd reason. Also, in the UK, they tend to talk about Fahrenheit down to about freezing point, 32, I think it is. But under freezing point, they tend to use Celsius. So when it's -4 outside in the UK, that doesn't mean the moment you walk out you're going to freeze to death. It just means that it's very, very cold. Weird, but whatever. In my series of episodes, I hope to just use the metric system when weighing and measuring things. So instead of using cups and teaspoons, I'll be using things like grams and milliliters. When we're talking about lengths of things, I'll be definitely talking centimeters because I'm Australian. That's all I know. And with everything else, the metric system is going to be probably the one standard thing that I'm going to do for all of them. If you are living in a place that uses imperial, or it uses whatever approximation the United States has of the original imperial system, by all means change it yourself. Google's actually got a really handy app built into the system, so you can type in 100 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit and it'll give you that reading. And you'll be able to change that digit as many times as you want and it'll keep spitting out the correct answer. That's not being facetious, it's actually built into the Google code. So that'll be very, very helpful. I won't be translating things into imperial or US imperial at all though. It's all going to be metric and Celsius for us. Basically, we're right and you're wrong. Yeah, I completely intend to. There's this great website hosted by the Australian government which will give me those nutritional information cards. So listing how much folate, how much zinc, how much B12, how much of all of these nutritional bits and pieces are in each dish. I'll be doing it for the entire batch that we'll be making together, and I'll also give a pretty good serving size according to what I think should be a standard. Now, you may eat more, you may eat less, you may share serving size between multiple people. That is entirely up to you. But what I'll do is I'll portion it out according to what I would be doing if I were feeding myself. And when I do feed myself, what I do to ensure that there is enough to make it filling, but not too many calories that make you get fat like I'm slowly getting now. First of all, great pun. I love a good pun. Second of all, no. Well, not yet. Hopefully in the future, I'll be doing vegan-specific recipes, vegetarian-specific recipes, celiac-specific ones, FODMAP ones, pescatarian ones even. If there is a recipe that is in this current season that is or happens to be any of the above, then I'll definitely mention it. If I can remember it also, I will say when you can substitute things in to make it a vegetarian dish or make it a vegan dish, but I can't guarantee that I'll do it for every episode. That being said, in the future I will be filming with some friends who are vegetarian and vegan. Hopefully I'll be filming with some celiacs as well, but right now the answer is no, and I'm sorry. Okay, that's not a question, but yeah, I'm completely open to that suggestion. If you are a supermarket chain, I know a really good German-based one that I'd love to work with. If you're an appliance manufacturer, also I know a really good German one that I'd like to work with. If you're a butcher or greengrocer or have a specialization that you think will lend itself well to basic batches as a concept, then please get in touch with me. I would love to work with you. I will be integrating your products into the main iteration of basic batches, and I hope to do that in an interesting and slightly unusual way, because I'm not a big fan of the whole "this episode is sponsored by blah 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 blah." Not for me. I'll be integrating it in. I'll be discussing it as part of normal conversation. So yeah, hopefully we can work on something. On that point as well, if you are a store or a producer who sells things like knives or fry pans or saucepans or pots or anything like that, I'd be more than happy to try out your wares, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to feature it as a part of a separate video. I'm not designing this series or any side projects to be, like appliance reviews or equipment reviews. But if it's good enough and I integrate it as a part of my cooking entourage or implements, then I will do a little video to outline why I've made that decision to change to something else. In the next few weeks, you will also be seeing a video of the absolute rudimentary basics that I am working with. So anyone who wants to buy those things, if you know what brand it is because you've seen that before, fantastic, but I'm not going to mention it until I get money, until I'm sponsored by someone who produces or sells those sort of things. No. Just no. All right, next question. If you are someone who does lighting, like I've got a little LED light down here which has baking paper over the front to give it more of a diffuse glow. If you're a sound recordist, I've got a little sound recording device that I borrow from my housemate. If you're a filmographer, I'm just working with my mobile phone camera at the moment. I would love to have you on if you can bring something to improve my show in terms of production. Please get in touch with me. I would love to talk to you to see if we can work together to do things a little bit better than what I'm doing now. Now that is a surprisingly good question. I'm thinking of feeding friends and production staff and whoever comes on the show. But if you're a homeless shelter or a charity or a halfway house or anything like that based in metropolitan Victoria, suburban Melbourne, please get